It's gonna have to be a lifestyle switch.
Hello. We are going to be looking at the weekly to-do list notebook system. I'm going to be transferring from my 2022 to my 2023 notebook. We are already a little bit into 2023, but I wanted to film this, and so it's waited basically until I had a chance to film it and had the time to film it. So I'm going to be going from this one into this one and showing you the setup that I use for my weekly to-do list. Now, my weekly to-do list is part of a bigger system that includes my daily 3 priorities, time blocking, as well as my long-term to-do list. I do a weekly review, which helps me build up my week list and make sure that I'm taking everything off and staying constant with achieving the things that I want to achieve. This also ties into yearly goals. Just writing a weekly to-do list is never gonna be just enough. Just writing down a to-do list, you're gonna have to actually action it, but it's also very important to make sure that what is coming onto your to-do list is correct in the first place. You need to know who you are, what you stand for, how you want to show up in the world, which is life goal affirmations. And if you are in the membership, there is a course for that. You can go through the course to set up your life goal affirmations. It also ties into your core values. You should be using all of that to set your yearly goals. Your yearly goals set your monthly goals set your weekly goals, and your weekly goals will help you know what you need to get done each day to keep moving forward. And then we wrap that all in a big blanket of grace for the fact that life doesn't always go to plan, things happen, and we need to have a little bit of movement and flexibility and flow in there to allow for those changes, for crisis to happen, for our energies to fluctuate, all those kind of things. And we talk about that all constantly within the membership. It's having the systems in place to give us that support, but also having that fluffy blanket of grace to make sure that we're being kind to ourselves when things don't go on track. But the systems that I use, the systems that I teach, are designed to stick with us through the crisis, stick with us through the hard times. And sometimes sticking with us is just putting the brakes on, not doing anything, and then being able to come back to them. So never fear if you miss a week, if you miss a month, you just step back in and keep going. There's no going off track. It's all one track. We're just doing different things along the way of the track. So first and foremost is what you should be getting for this system is a notebook. I highly recommend going for an A6 notebook. So this is half A5, quarter A4 size. I find it fits in most handbags, most bags. It can be carried around in your hand quite easily without it being too intrusive. It fits on your desk. Even in lots of cases fits in my pocket with coats and things. I don't think I want to stretch my jeans by trying to fit it in there, but I could if I wanted to. So it's a good size. I've also found that personally, if it doesn't fit on a 1 page in an A6, it's too much for a week for me. That is just a me thing, but I think it's nicer to have that kind of restriction of not putting too much on our lists as well. So I like that. So A6, my recommendation, but you do you. You might prefer to have a bigger page and only ever use every other line. You might prefer to have bigger line spaces. This is my preferred size for all those practical reasons. Other thing I always say a weekly to-do list should have is a pen holder pocket, a little elastic to keep that in. I always try and go for a pen that's got a clip on it as well, because it reduces the chances of it falling out. I also think it's nice to fiddle with, and let's be honest, my ADHD brain likes to have things to fiddle with. I also like to have one that's got an elastic band to keep the things shut. It's also quite useful if you just chuck some receipts in it at some point. If you're out shopping, you can just kind of keeps it more controlled. So I like to recommend for that. I also would go for one that's got a ribbon bookmark. And I will pop the link for the Amazon to-do list, my Amazon list, which has got all my favourite organisational products on, which is where this one is specifically. This comes in a range of different colours, but I particularly wanted a teal, and so I had to go for a different one this year because I really wanted teal, and they didn't have a teal, but they have quite a few, and it had a pocket in the back. So this is my other thing that I recommend, because I couldn't get the colour I wanted without the pocket, and I'm me, I cut the back of my old one out and made a pocket. So either make a pocket using an old notebook or a piece of paper or something, or buy one with a pocket. So this one came with the pocket originally, and obviously I've massacred it to put a pocket into this one instead, so I could have the colour I wanted. But these are the ones that I have listed on the Amazon recommended items list, and it doesn't affect the price of the item, but I get a little thank you from Amazon if you order via the link. So if you're going to get one, or any of the items that I recommend, then please do it via my link, because I get my little thank you from Amazon. And my back pocket, so I won't often put receipts in there, because normally receipts I don't want to stagnate. I want to put them in, get them home, and then be able to type them up, put them on my Excel sheet, and carry on with my life. But I will, so in the back of mine, I've got some business cards, and then I have a little sentimental item. So it's a little, it's called the cross in my pocket. So it's got a little cross, a little golden cross, and a poem. This belonged to my grandma, but I can't remember which one now. I can't remember if it was my mum's mum or my dad's mum, but it belonged to my grandma. The golden lock of hair was my daughter's. I won't keep it here forever, but it was the only safe place I had to put it when we had a first haircut. And then I have a picture of her and me in the back, so those are always with me. So I keep that one in there. Other things I would pop in there would be receipt from the dry cleaners, because you need to take it with you when you go back to dry cleaners. Same if I'm getting any sewing repairs. I do a lot of my own sewing repairs at the moment, but sometimes I have things that are more complicated or alterations, and I would go somewhere and I'd pop that in there. So those kind of things, receipts that you need to keep for a long time to go and pick something up. If I was at an event and I got given a coat stub, that would go in there, and then when I go back to my coat up, I know where it is, because if it's in my wallet, it's just, yeah, my wallet's really small. So that's what I recommend for the book. Then what we are going to start with is the front section of the book. Now you can put your name in if you so want to. You can put your phone number so that you get it back to you, that kind of thing. People find quite helpful, so I'm going to put my please call bit in there, and then I'm also going to put my word for the year across here. And it means that I've got a little doodle space. I'm not going to do that right now, because it would take time and I want to sit and do it nicely. I'll probably go and sit, my little one's off school still today, so I'm going to sit with her and do that doodle page in a minute. But details on the front page, and then we are straight into the good stuff. With our first week of the year, which for me this will be for next week, because next week's my first full week back. And what we do is top corner is going to be the week commencing date. I tend to just put the date. I don't need to put WC or week commencing. I don't need to write that out every page. It's just the week commencing date. So Monday's date will go at the top there, and that is it. I set up, depending on what mood I'm in, I want to go and chill out with my kid, so I can sit and do that and just put all the dates in. So I'll probably work my way through and put all the different dates in there. So I'll give you an example. I've got, Father Christmas got me some really cool coloured fine liners. I think I'm going to go with this one. I'm going to go purple. So I was opening up the date calendar thingy on my computer. So I've got the dates. Right, so Monday next week is the 16th. That's going to be my first one. I feel like I want to leave. So the front page in this is stuck slightly funny, so I'm actually going to go onto my second page. So we have the 16th of the first 23. Literally, that is it. That's it. That's all I do to set up each of my pages. So I will go through maybe we're into April. So I've done the first 3 months. I will fill the rest in later. So the first 3 months, just toppling. Now you might say, Jess, why don't you just get a week to view diary and use that? And the thing is, when you buy pre-formed diaries, they have loads of additional things in there that you don't need. It's the same reason why I designed my own planner. So you've got the Happy Lifestyle planner, which very much supports everything that we do in the membership. And I wanted things to be really, really simple. I didn't want to overdo it with information that you didn't need. I don't know if that had a chance to focus, but might do. There you go. Anyway, I wanted it to be really, really simple. I wanted it to be just the essential bits, not all the extra gumph. Like, not everyone wants to track their body temperature every day, and like when you buy pre-formed ones, they often have so many more additional bits that you're meant to put in. I just need a page with the date for the week on. And then how we use this. So you'll see I've also got this chopped up section here as well. And so how we use this, I'm going to use one of the blank pages in this one. Maybe I should keep hold of this notebook as a teaching one. Here we go. So we've got this was this week, so trying to give it a chance to, you see that it's got the date up the top, and then what we're going to do is down the middle of the page would be your to-do list items for the week. Now this will come from a mixture of throughout the week or the weeks running up, things might come up that you know need to get done in this week. So it could be that something happens today and I know it needs to get done next week, I'll put it onto next week's to-do list. It could be that something comes up today that I know doesn't need to get done for 6 weeks, and I will put it on 4 weeks' time to-do list or whatever. I will work out when it's going to go. This tiny shift from just having a constant to-do list to making sure that things are only on the correct week is a game changer in itself. If that's all you take away from this video, if that's all you start doing, that is going to make a massive, massive difference. But writing it down the middle so that you've got a space before and a space after. I don't waste time drawing in lines on each page. Maybe one day I will have a pre-set up notepad available on Amazon that you can buy, but at the moment to self-publish with the elastic things is just not worthwhile. So, and I think those are really important, so I'm not going to. So I don't draw the lines on mine. It's too much stuff going on the page. I just literally want the spare lines. So items go down the middle. The other place that I might get my items from is when I do my weekly review, and I will look at my long-term to-do list, which is my Trello. I actually did the first part of the Trello workshop this morning, so if you're in the membership, you will be able to go and find the Trello one in there too. And if by the time you see this video, the course for to-do list, my to-do list system, is in the membership, then the link for all of these you'll be able to work your way through in there as well. So this video will be going into that course as well as it being available just in the video section. So it depends where you're watching this from. If you're in the course, to-do list course, we will get the Trello section video will be linked in a next bit of the course. So I will go into, as part of my weekly review, I will go into my long-term to-do list within Trello. What things do I need to do to move my goals? All my yearly and monthly goals are in there as well. What do I need to be doing to make sure that I'm moving towards those goals? What are my next steps? I will pull off my Trello what is going to be done next week, write it onto next week's, and have my completed list. And this, I write those on during my weekly review. And the next step for within my weekly review is setting priority order. And I do that down this side. So this is the spine side, or the left-hand side of the page. So let me write some fake things on my to-do list for you. I suppose this is this week, so I could write some actual things. Let's have a drink. So look, I can't see my monthly goals list because the ring light's in the way, because it's on the wall directly behind it. So we need to get school bags ready. We need to reset the house after the holidays. Next. Holes, list furniture on gum, tree, list, furniture, on, pre-loved. Already done the Facebook one. Sand, straw set. Probably should put some actual work on there. So we've got edit, video. I think I've got 3 videos to edit. So edit video 1, upload video 1, and then we're going to plan masterclass. What else can I put on here as thinking off the top of my head, some things that need to happen. That'll do. That's enough. That's enough for now. Gets us going. So there we go. To-do list down the middle of the page. So I'm then going to put a priority order. So this is how I would work this. First, we count the number of things on our list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've got 8 things on our list that we're using today, which means we are going to have 1 to 8 as our priorities. First priority first. Sounds really obvious, but then second is our last priority. So I said we're going to put it on the spine here. So I'm going to have a look at my list. School bags ready as first priority because she's going back to school tomorrow. Plan the masterclass, second priority. Lowest priority on here is going to be, I've recently put a video up on YouTube, so getting that video uploaded is probably my lowest priority of these items. Then my second highest priority is planning the masterclass. So I've done 1 first. That's right, yeah. 1 first, then my last one, and then my second, my next highest priority, and I fill them in from top and bottom. Let's be honest, sometimes it jumps out at us, yeah, oh, this is 1, 2, 3, and then we get stuck. So you can do 1, 2, 3 and then go to the end, but make sure you know how many you've got on there so you can go sort of top and bottom priority wise. So if uploading is a low priority, then I'm going to say editing is the next lowest. Plan the masterclass, reset the house. 5 and 4. There we go. So we end up with a little list. Oh. Like that. Okay. Next up is setting our time allocations for the items. So I say with this, you want to be thinking about being a realistic pessimist. It's better to allow a little bit extra time to get something done and find that you've got it done quicker than for it to go the other way. The other way is frustrating because it means it runs into the time slot you plan to do something else in, and then we always feel like behind. It's better to be finishing earlier. So always allocate a little bit more time than you expect. This goes on this side, so the open edge side of the book, they go down this side, and I would do it in minutes, so minute blocks, 60, 180, 90, etc. I would also factor in how many blocks of that time you'll use. So for example, these are all one thing, but if you had something that required you to space it out, so maybe you're working on a project only in the evenings, one of the items is actually a 3-hour job, but you know you're only going to be able to do an hour of it at a time. Maybe it requires a lot of mental power or physical energy, and you're just like, I won't have the strength to do it in a 3-hour straight. I'm actually going to do it in 3-hour blocks. What you would write is 3 times 60, because what your brain needs to be able to do is look at that item and go, I need 60 minutes in one chunk. I need 3 of those 60 minutes, but right now I need 60 minutes to get this first one done. And so you'd write 3 or 2 times 30, whatever is block you're going to do it in, that would be what you would do. So uploading a video is only that's a 30-minute block. It's nice and easy, setting it all to upload. Plan the masterclass, just for the sake of it, I'm going to put 2 separate blocks in here. So I'm going to put 2 times 30 because I can plan it and then come back and review it. Then we've got editing video because my computer is slow, it normally takes about 60 minutes. If drawers, that's probably 90 minutes including setup and pack up. that is a 60-minute, we're going to call that 60 minutes. Reset the house, we're going to do that as a 90-minute. Getting the bags ready is, we're going to be pessimistic and put a 60-minute in case something hasn't been washed or needs ironing, whatever. So you should end up with something that looks like this. So you've got your list, you've got your time allocations, and you've got your number orders. There you go. The last thing that I do on this page is little bullet points before the answers. So these I will put on when I do one of two things. So I will add them as I schedule the item onto my calendar. So this is for the weeks where I time block. Time blocking is my preferred method. However, life doesn't always agree with that. So preferred method, if I'm going in, currently feel like there's no looming crisis, it's a normal-ish week, there's no half term or craziness like that going on, I'm feeling generally healthy or something like that, like it feels like a typical normal week, I will aim to time block. And that means that I will go through my list as part of my weekly reset and schedule each thing onto my calendar with the block of time at the time I intend to do it. So specific time to do it. As I put each item onto my calendar, I will draw the little circle in front of it. So I will do one example. Like that. Just wait for it to focus. There we go. So you can see in front of number one, there is now a little circle. That means it's been scheduled. It's been scheduled, which for me means it's underway. If something gets scheduled onto the calendar, it is now underway. And I've got that little dot. When the item is then completed, I will put a cross through that dot, which I don't want to do because these are all things I need to do this week, so I'm now going to use this list. So it would look, once the item is done, let's wait for it to think. See that little circle with that little cross? I would personally then, you could colour in the dot if you so preferred. I like a slice through it. I prefer not to cross out the whole to-do item because I want to be able to see everything that has been done this week. When I get to the end of the week, I want to be able to relate back to my long-term to-do list and be able to tick off what's been done. It's a waste of ink, it's a waste of time, it makes the page look messy. I don't want to cross out a whole line of text. Imagine how much extra time it takes if every list you do, if you're crossing out every whole thing. Dash through the circle, so much neater. Or like I said, if you want to just colour in the circle, that's up to you too. So I just put a dash through the circle when the item is actually done. So say, time blocked it, I give it a little dot. The other way I do things, so there was two ways that it could get the little dots. Those slightly crazier weeks, so if you've been poorly and you're not quite recovered yet, if you're feeling very low energy, say it's half term where, or some other reason, like you've got a week off work where it's not long enough to have a new routine, and like the summer holidays, you've got a block of a good few weeks, you'll get into a new routine. Christmas, I find, even though it's a couple of weeks, it's not long enough to get into a new routine. And I tend to need to be a bit more reactive to both my energy and my time. So what I will do is, as I am going to do the thing, or I've set it as one of my 3 priorities, so I'll check my list in the morning, set my top 3 priorities, I will then put the circle in. So I know it's a priority for that day. So as I get towards the end of the week, I can keep checking in. If I look on Wednesday and only one thing has got a circle, I'm like, pants, I really need to like buckle down and get some more stuff done. And if I get to the Friday and I'm like, oh, it's nice and easy to see what hasn't been started, what hasn't been done. That is my much kinder, sort of more graceful way of doing it to myself. I am much more productive when I time block, but sometimes we just don't have the physical, mental capacity to be that productive. Sometimes we need to allow grace for ourselves, and so the second way is much more graceful at those times where things are a bit more fluctuating for whatever reason. It could be something nice is happening and we want to be a bit more kind of relaxing. It could be that we're dealing with something horrible and we need to be that time. Whatever it is, you adjust whether you need to time block that week or not, but do know that unfortunately for the majority of people, time blocking is more time efficient. It allows you to really think through the allocation of when you're going to do what. So grouping like tasks together. If you time block, it gives you that chance to look and go, okay, there's 3 things here that all involve me driving to the other side of my city. I might as well time block on my calendar to do them all together. Whereas if you were reactive, you might have only left yourself an hour to go and do that task. And you're like, oh, if I did an hour and a half, I could have got all 3 things done. So it is, from a purely like numbers productivity point of view, it is more effective for most people to time block. Things like, there are certain things that I will have put makeup on for. Not much, and not often, and I don't put much makeup on. But for me, it would make more sense to be like, oh, okay, I'm filming this workshop, so I'll record this and I'll take these pictures for social media all on the same day because I've put my face on, and therefore I don't have to bother putting any makeup on for the rest of the week because it's fine. I don't need to worry about it. So time blocking, much more efficient. Whereas if I was being a bit more reactive because it was a bit more chaotic, it might cost me a bit more time because I'll just put some makeup on, do the course, and then another day, oh, put some makeup on, do that video. It is going to be more reactive, but it's kinder on you. And there's just weeks that is how it's going to have to happen. Just how life is. I know we've got neurodiversity within the group, like myself. I know we've got chronic illness, and I know we've got parents, but it's like everything fluctuates. Like, it's going to change whether we need to have a more reactive week or not. So that would be my suggested way for doing those 2 options. So that obviously won't go into here until I know what I'm doing for next week. But that is not all that we set up. We have a back section to our book. So I'm going to leave the back page blank because it seems to be the back and the front pages are glued in slightly funny. So I'm going 1 page in, but this is the back of your to-do list. And these are my little essential lists. Now, last year, some of them didn't get anything added on them, but it's nice to have them there. And I'm actually going to readjust my order for them now. So. Stuff down for the wrong reasons. What are we doing? So my special list for the back of my book, I have long-term ideas or long-term projects. I have books to read, because often books jump out at me that I'd like to read. Things to research or look up. A random items page and a positive procrastination list. I'm actually going to put them in the other order. I've just read them out. Whichever one you are going to want to access most is the one that you want furthest at the back, because you'll be working from the back of the book. Now, it's up to you. Some people might want to turn the book upside down, so it's like that, but I don't. Personally, I keep the page like that. So, positive procrastination are little things that I can do that will support my life, but are quite useful for those times where I'm like, I'm just wiped out, I just need to sit down on the sofa for half an hour, but I still kind of want to do something. Or if I get a bit fidgety watching a TV program, but I'm like, I should really be resting, but I want something to fidget doing that's still useful. Say you weren't feeling very well, but you still wanted to do something, you don't have to. You can very much just chill out on the sofa and do nothing. You can very much just rest when you're ill. But if, like me, you are a fidget bug, positive procrastinations means that you can fidget with something useful. It's also quite good if you just need to get out some energy, some organisational energy, some productivity energy, but you can't quite get your head in the game of anything like more serious, anything that requires you to think too much or write or focus. If you just want something to do, but is still helpful. Another one is if you've got something really tricky to do and you're finding yourself procrastinating it, pick one of your positive procrastinations, because then at least you're doing something that's a positive procrastination. So some of mine are clear out my Facebook groups. So these are also, I have a couple of mine that are like mini decluttery type ones. So clear out my Facebook groups. I might go in and just have a look at what Facebook groups I've joined. Am I enjoying them? Do I want to stay in them? Are they useful? Are they serving a purpose? And clear out the ones that I don't want to be in. Edit the photos on my phone. So I might go through and just do a sweep through, look for duplicates. delete some, maybe there's been screenshots that I screenshotted something that I wanted to look up later. I might like write down what it is instead of leaving it as a screenshot, delete the screenshot, that kind of thing. Looking up reel ideas. So instead of just scrolling through reels on Instagram, I will specifically go in to look for reel ideas. So there's intention, so it means I can write, if I find any reels I like, I would write them down. Sort through saved Insta posts. So again, a bit like the Facebook groups, you find yourself saving certain Insta posts. Oh, this would be good, go through them and see if there's anything in there that you actually want to keep or actually want to action, move it onto a to-do list or something. At the time on my Instagram, I used to do jokes. Once a week there was a joke. There's no jokes anymore. Well, it depends how you view my content, I suppose. But I used to look up funny jokes, would be one of mine. Clear my purchases emails, so my email inbox. I have a folder for purchases. As I purchase something, move the pending emails and stuff into there. Once I've got the item, check that I've liked it, definitely happy with it, definitely not going to return it. Rarely buy anything that's not consumable, so often once I've consumed the item, definitely can't return it then, I will go in and remove those purchased emails. I might keep them if it's a new company that I might not remember. Sometimes I keep those in there too, but I'll go through and clear those. Bit more hardcore, but still on my positive procrastinators, clear my emails. Tend to go for simpler things. Search for recipes I might like to try, update my wish list, and look for camper inspo. So I really want to convert a van into my own camper one day. I also look up pictures of King Charles Spaniels. That for me is a positive procrastination. But it just stops me just doom scrolling. It's still like looking up fun pictures of a camper is still kind of doom scrolling, but it's also a little bit helpful because one day I'll be able to go back through these and I have all this inspiration for how I want to do my camper. And that is something I want to do within the next 5 years. It's not like a complete like pipe dream type thing. And now obviously this is not an exhaustive list at all. That's just an example of mine. But you can obviously put in whatever you like. I am going to, I've got another colour pen I want to use. No, I am going to go for this lovely little periwinkle blue. It's probably, oh, it matches my nail. Look at that. So I am going to write in positive. Can't spell. Positive procrastination. I'm not going to write all the items in now, but literally that's it. Oh. So it's at the top of the page. So that's what I do for each of these lists. That one I will have more. I'll have stuff written in from the beginning. I will fill that in a minute. But then the next one we are going to do is my random items page. So turn the next one. Sticking with my pens, my periwinkle blue. We've got random items page. So this could be anything from an email address someone gives me, a phone number someone gives me that I don't want to put in my phone for whatever reason. Just trying to remember something, even if it's I need a piece of paper to write down a word to try and work out how to spell it, like anything like that. It means that and it's, again, it's a rarity, but it saves me having to find a scrap piece of paper or writing it on something and then thinking like, do I need to keep this or whatever? How is that going to work? So having that random items page. My next one is things to research. So we've got things, literally called things to research. That could even be, so my things to research goes onto my positive procrastination list as well actually. It could even be that I hear a word, I'm not quite sure of the definition of it, or I hear about an animal or a food type or a company, anything like that. Books to read is going to be my next one. I actually got pretty good at putting these onto Amazon, so I might, no, I'll do a books to read one. So, having a books to read, I just find people telling you books, suggesting books all the time, and then you never remember them, and then you go to read your next book. Although in the membership we do have a book club, so it's one book every 2 months, but because it kind of spreads it out, means you've got a chance to read lots of other things, but otherwise you never remember what everyone's recommended. So my last one is long-term projects. Long-term projects. I put projects and ideas. Simple. That's it. That's all I need to do. I might put some extra little bits of colour underneath them to underline them, but I probably won't. Well, what do you think? There we go. I'll underline them in a pretty colour. That's about. Just to make it look. I had a teacher at school, he always wanted you to underline in pencil, so your title's in pen, but always underline it in pen. I don't know what it taught us, apart from that we all have our quirks. There we go. I'll underline it, and I will write my positive procrastinations in later. There we go. And that's it. Now, obviously, again, it's not an exhaustive list of extra lists that you might want to have in the back. You want to think of, this is for items that aren't going to be regularly changing. This is more a little mini dumping ground that you've always got in your pocket. I would resist writing big long-term to-do lists, brain dumping, master planning, any of that. I personally prefer doing it on loose paper, so that I'm not tearing pages out of books when I want to get rid of them, or I don't end up with books full of writing that I'm like, oh, do I need to keep this? Do I need to keep that? Suddenly, when you come to declutter it, you've got to check every page. Whereas if you are doing on loose paper and then just getting rid of them as you go, it's just it's a much simpler way of maintaining it. So I've actually even taken this one step further and got a little clipboard. So I used to keep a notepad for sort of scribbling, doodling. If I went to a workshop, I would take that. I now take this. It means I can just put whatever paper on it. I can put scrap paper on it. Or this is an actual little plain white notepad that came with it, but when that runs out, I can put whatever I want on it. If I wanted to, I could put some lined and some plain on paper on here, so I can use both. But it just means I can take the page off at the end, do whatever I need to do with the page and get rid of the page, and it's constantly flowing and moving. It's so much better. I have absolutely loved that. It was an accidental, it wasn't even a purchase, it was a freebie, but I thought I was picking up an A4 size clipboard because I had one, but it was ugly and that's pretty, and it wasn't, it was little, and I was like, oh, what am I going to do with this? And then I finished my notepad that I was using, started using that. I was like, pucker, absolutely love it. Very, very happy. So don't use your weekly to-do list notepad for anything else than those few select lists at the back. Like I said, you can add a couple of other lists if there's ones, or get rid of a couple which can work for you, but I would limit them. How many have we got in here today? So I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with the books. I wouldn't suggest going much more over that. Really have a strong think if you're writing down, like maybe write down the list of titles that you want to do first, and try and keep them around that 5 mark, because otherwise this book will become too many things and it becomes a bit overly complicated, and you want to mainly look at this book as being your weekly to-do list notebook. That's how you want to see it. It's your weekly to-do list. And you will hear me, that is what I will refer to it as, and I will often hold it up to. So that is the setup, and some of how, well, the majority of how I use this notebook as well, that fits in with our goal setting as well, and our long-term to-do list. So I hope you found this useful. Do pop me a message if you've got any questions, and do give a shout out in the membership if you've done set yours up as well. I'd love to hear about it, and maybe post some of the pictures in the community chat too. I'll see you later, and ta-ta for now.
If you wanna be happy, it's gonna have to be a lifestyle switch. And if you wanna be happy, you're gonna have to do the work indeed. Quick fixes become fads and diets too. Take back your time and live your life for you. Cause if you wanna be happy, it's gonna have to be a lifestyle switch.